What do you get when you take all the plot devices from the films Aliens, Edge of Tomorrow, Interstellar, Starship Troopers, Minority Report, War of the Worlds? Let's just keep going with as many science fiction classics that we can. Throw it into a blender, turn the blender on high, tip that into a Hessian bag, wet the bag, jump on the bag, then throw a startled Chris Pratt in. You get The Tomorrow War.
Well, they say kids never come by unless they need something.
Dad, I need your help.
I'll get my coat.
30 years in the future, we are fighting a war. Our enemy is not human, and we are losing. We need you to fight.
I will be back. And I love you, Chickpea.
7 days from now, when you're sent into that war, you won't be fighting for your country. You'll be fighting for the world.
Is it all right?
Yeah, going to war.
Stop talking. Listen.
Sorry, when I'm nervous, I talk. I'm like a 97 on the nervous scale.
That should be fun.
Welcome to the future. You and your unit are now in 2051.
They're everywhere.
We are food, and they are hungry. Our enemy is smarter, faster, and stronger than you can possibly imagine. Do you want to see something really dangerous?
I feel like literally that's all I've been doing since I got here, but okay.
Within the next few weeks, the human species will disappear from the face of the earth.
Nothing we do here matters.
No, that's where you're wrong. I don't believe that one bit.
Together, we can stop this war from ever happening.
This is my opportunity to give this world a second chance. Second chances are really hard to come by.
Light him up!
There you go.
Welcome, everybody, to Pop Culture. I am Scott.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Monica.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
That was a good cue there.
Buddy. Get out. You don't touch it. Give me a second.
That's all right.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody, to Pop Culture. I am Scott.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Monica.
And I'm sorry. Was this my idea? This wasn't my idea. Oh.
Yes, this is all your fault.
Over it. Are you sure?
No, you can't go become a politician on us now and try and say, no, I didn't quite say that was a core promise or my idea. It's someone else's idea.
Yeah,
We know you're to blame, Scott.
I watched the press conference earlier today, actually. I think I'd heard of it. I watched the trailer, and honestly, I was like, oh, yeah, looks all right. Very good marketing campaign, I must say, for this movie.
Oh, I saw some of the stuff about that. Did you see the tank with one of the creatures in it that was going around the streets as part of the marketing? So, yeah, no, look it up. Look up the marketing on the Tomorrow War, and you'll see one of the creatures in a tank, like they're chained up. I think it's like the female one in the film.
The queen.
And it's being towed around the city. So full size, everything. It was very, very impressive.
I'm afraid that if I do search that, then Google will take that to mean that it's okay to give me more Tomorrow War stuff in my algorithm. So I won't be doing that.
It's worth it. I'll do it for you. I'll take the bullet and I'll post it to you later.
Much obliged.
But so I started off with all of those references. I probably didn't cover enough references there, and it is a horrible schmozzle of different films trying to be either referred to or used to create some sort of I can't even say the word original here. Some sort of plot.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, I remember when you, Jason, had you talked about Mortal Kombat being kind of a mix of all these weird things. But this was just, I was getting Terminator vibes. I was getting like everything. Like Doctor Who, like with the weird time portal.
Oh yeah.
And this movie is like if someone cut and paste just from every script they found with a science fiction bent on it. Holy shit! I've never been more bored. Like that sounds like something I should enjoy. All of my favorite things together, but it was so bland and it was so dull.
I think this movie tries to hoodwink an audience into thinking it's good by reminding you of better films and just ripping it off and popping in some weird lizard xenomorph.
The raptors from
thing.
Jurassic Park with extra tentacles.
Yeah, pretty much. What was
They even open doors.
They even open doors.
That said, the only thing I liked in this movie was the creature design. They look cool.
I felt that the longer the film went for, the worse they ended up looking. Like they ran out of money as they were filming, and then the rendering just got shoddier and shoddier of the creatures.
Because it's got more and more in your face.
The creature design was fine. I mean, I guess, if we're going to look at film in parts, the production design of those particular aliens was really done well, and I'd admire that. It wasn't particularly original, and I think we've seen a lot of ravenous aliens now that sort of bolt about very fast to the point where it's hard to be original. It's
only a month ago watching Quiet Place Part 2, it's like, well, there's your original Alien done a hell of a lot better than this.
Yep.
Yeah, and even that one looks like the Stranger Things Demogorgon, and they start
things crossed with Venom.
Yeah, so it's hard to get that original concept of an alien. I think it always will be, but yeah, I think it was an effective monster, if you want, in terms of that production design.
It just didn't. The rules felt a bit odd. I'm like, oh, there is a female, and then it's like, oh, this is the only female.
Yeah. I thought it was going to end up being one of the scenarios where you kill the female and then all of the other males are just drop dead.
Like every other bad alien movie. You blow up that one.
Yeah. I thought it would have been way more interesting. You just see an explosion of aliens once you kill the queen. It would have looked cool.
A la Independence Day 2.
Exactly.
And Chris Pratt, who I find fine as Peter Quill, and then the more I see this same character over and over and over, I do not believe that he is a science teacher in this movie.
Thank you. I was about to say that. I don't buy him as an action star or a high school biology teacher or a scientist or anything like that. It just doesn't...
A father, none of it.
No, none of it. He just looks like a guy who played football in college and then damaged his knee and now's in some dead-end job.
But still picks up chicks at the bar on a Friday night at TGI Fridays. I was a star once.
Yeah, right.
I just, the cast, I mean, J.K. Simmons is J.K. Simmons, so he's fine.
He was fine, but I was very upset to see a PTSD J.K. Simmons from Nam in this movie. Like, he's too good for this.
I would watch that movie.
I would too, actually. And after Tomorrow, I have to admit that I actually ended up watching Whiplash because I needed to watch a good movie after watching this shit show.
Yeah, but even though he's good, it was a very pedestrian performance by himself. Really, he didn't have to do a lot.
He showed up looking grizzled and let the beard do the work.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. I think his area is comedy, and but he can't. I'm yet to see him do something that's got any dramatic depth. And this was just a case, and I said it in the intro here. he just looked like he was startled half the time, and maybe it was something that you were hinting at earlier, where he's startled in the fact that he's got so much control here, and he could put everything he liked into this film, being the producer as well. Going, what the hell am I doing here?
It's like, maybe if I had a thing on my arm and someone said okay, and he was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I guess in terms of a storytelling standpoint as well, the concept that, you know, everyone does a 7-day tour and it's particular people who you end up finding out aren't alive by the time.
Yeah, because the moment it's like you start doing time travel, it just gets muddy. So I was like, straight away, I'm like, how would that not like fuck up time? So the solution around that is like, oh, everyone who is getting sent to this time is dead,
which actually makes a lot of sense, but it's also a little bit selfish on the part of the people coming to the past from the future, being like, well, you're not going to be alive anyway, so we may as well conscript you and force you into a war that's going to happen, which you won't be around for. You're just, you know, cattle. You know,
and I think the part of the movie that the only part of the movie I thought was genuinely really good was his recruitment scene.
Yes,
which felt very uncomfortable and like horrible, and I'm like, I can see where this is going. Like, the draft is a terrifying idea to me, and like that scene was great, and then it just, you know, it was it.
I couldn't help but feel in the recruitment scene as well, it was setting up Chris Pratt's character to be the white savior of the movie, because in the recruitment scene, the people who are recruiting him, they're all Hispanic, Black, different cultural groups recruiting a white man to do this, because it's the white man who will be able to save the day.
As usual.
You know?
Part and parcel, isn't it?
Yeah, it was all very rushed, that part, to try and establish these characters in the future. You know, when he goes to fight with them, you know, yes, I guess you're supposed to feel something for those ones that he helps out when they die in the film, but you don't know who they are, really.
You mean the chick from 24 and the guy who I thought was the guy from Richard Jewell, but it actually wasn't the guy from Richard Jewell.
Yeah, well, possibly, because that was a really weird way of describing someone.
Well, I don't know the characters' names.
Yeah, but I don't know their names either, and that's the point. It's sort of like, it just seemed really shallow and done, you know, tokenistically for some form of emotional impact that just didn't exist. And then all those sequences seem to be exactly the same when you go into the future, where, okay, there's going to be quick, beat the explosion, slow motion death. Okay, now we're going to beat this explosion, slow motion death. And it happened multiple times. And I was just there surprised to go, surely they could have thought of some other thing to happen that would be more tense and interesting.
No, fireball followed by someone leaping.
I feel that
slow motion.
I feel that the, I guess, supporting cast is not as important. They're secondary to, I guess, the core of the story that they're trying to tell, which is Chris Pratt and his relationship with his daughter, who, you know, in a wild twist of events, is the general that he works with in the future, which you could see happening from a mile away, which is, I understand what they were trying to do with that, but I just thought it was so contrived.
I thought they were going for some misplaced sexual tension, and then it got really uncomfortable for me.
Hey, I'm sure it did now.
Like, afterwards, I was like, oh.
No, like when they started talking to one another in the scene in the hospital where they have to grab, what was it, some sort of part of the antidote or an ingredient that they need for the antidote or the anti-venom or whatever it is. I just thought, oh my God, who is this woman? She's important. Oh shit, she's the daughter, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't, watching them then get to know one another and working towards finding this cure and, you know, also trapping the female alien because she's the one that they can extract this anti-venom from. I felt that was quite forced in a way, like trying to make you care about the father-daughter relationship and how it turns out that, you know, He abandons the family just like his own dad. This movie's teeming with daddy issues and abandonment issues. And I just didn't find myself caring that much.
And shots of obligatory science, where we put
Yes.
things in front of microscopes and the computer says, no, only 68%. It's like, what the fuck is this?
68%, why not 100%?
And this is the thing, right? I don't even remember Chris Pratt's character's name. I just don't.
I don't either, I'm sorry. I didn't even write it down.
Well, that's a good sign.
Well, you could just call it the protagonist and sort of have a Tenet reference there, I guess.
Oh, God.
But to be honest, there's not a lot to get out of this film. It's probably one or two set pieces that were interesting. Like I didn't
the oil
mind.
rig thing was cool. The water
and
world at the end.
and them dropping out of the sky and some of them into the pool and off to the edge, and that idea, like that idea of a portal being absolutely anywhere and having that impact was really quite well done. Beyond that, though, I'd just make this a drinking game, watching this film, and go, okay, how many film references can you see? Oh, there's Predator, quick, okay, take a shot. And you might actually enjoy the film in the end.
Yeah, it even reaches the point where it's like, I thought, it was like, did they lift footage from the remake of The Thing at the end? Like,
it was close to it, because they had the
flying saucer
in the ice, yeah.
I also felt the film dragged for half an hour more than it absolutely needed to.
Oh, Christ. Extra.
That final
act.
Yeah. that did not need to happen. You could have easily have finished the film with the antivenom being produced and then just had a huge battle sequence at the end and, job done.
Yeah, his daughter dies, but he gets back and his daughter's there. He has the opportunity to better himself.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we have to go, to the glacial caps because, the monsters were there the entire time.
And we have to assemble the A team of other characters whose names you don't know.
Yeah, except for J.K.
So there's
Simmons,
Chick with dreads, there's J.K. Simmons, there's the black guy who's kind of comic relief, but he's a bit awkward.
Yeah. And you have Chris Pratt screaming at the alien to die, which is just, I laughed for a good 2 solid minutes when he was just like screaming at the alien to die.
And I didn't hate the aliens enough to warrant that really graphic murder of it.
Yeah, it was horrific. And I was just like, they're just, doing what aliens do. They've been asleep for a few thousand years, They
just woke up pissed. They're just like animals. They're sort of treated as animals. And the movie really goes out of its way to kill this thing at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And in a really graphic kind of way too. Like the antivenom eats away at the flesh and the musculature and they dissolve slowly.
They flop apart.
It's horrific.
But he rips out its eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Ripley didn't even treat the xenomorph like that.
I was just waiting for, in that final battle sequence, for J.K. Simmons to pop up out of nowhere and just scream at the alien, "Get away from him, you bitch!"
And I guarantee you it was in the first draft of the script.
Yeah, it probably was. And then they were just like, that's a bit too on the nose.
Oh, too much.
Yeah, that was just the final too much.
Look, I think that the fact that it's getting a sequel shows that we're really deficient now in getting good cinema, and this sort of stuff can be made. I think anyone who can pull up the production values for anything will probably get it made, and obviously Chris Pratt's name was the driving force here, but it doesn't mean you're going to get quality. So what I fear is we're going to get a whole lot of supposed blockbusters, and I use that term very lightly, that are just really mediocre films.
You can sort of see this as a B film that might, in a way, become a cult film eventually.
I don't even think it's got enough to make it that.
Not unless it becomes a drinking game, like I suggested. That might be all right.
It's no Sharktopus versus Terracuda, that's for sure.
No, I can't hold that sort of badge.
No.
It's not good, and it's way too long. And that's probably the biggest thing. If this was like a 90-minute movie that was like this silly, I'd be like, oh yeah, I can see the appeal. This thing goes for nearly 3 hours.
Yep. When you're sitting there watching the whole thing and you're thinking, you know what, I would actually prefer to watch Sharknado, you know this movie's bad.
Yeah. Too long and $200 million well spent, apparently.
Yeah, don't do it.
They could have made 4 really decent $50 million movies.
Yeah, but you know what? We'll never know now because we live in a reality with this one.
and we can't wait for that sequel, which I'm sure we will review.
Can't wait.
Oh, I don't know. Will we? Okay.
I don't even, because the problem is it ends as well. Like, it's got an ending that is like, there is no more. But there will be.
Yeah.
And I guess time travel's going to be, once you sort of have that, you can kind of do anything you want.
Or they missed an alien that didn't get beyond that at the end. Who knows?
Please tell me it's like Chris Pratt. He has to travel back to the Wild West.
Oh, God.
I don't want him. On a train.
I don't want him anywhere near Western movies. He's already done a horrible remake with The Magnificent Seven, and that was egregious enough.
It's not too bad.
Yes, it is. Yul Brynner is turning over in his grave, okay?
Yul Brynner, Steve Queen, Charles Bronson, they're all very upset.
Yeah, and I'm upset for them.
I actually like Magnificent Seven, but it's like Westerns. It's not hard to impress me.
Yeah, fair enough.
This, however, is pretty bad.
Yeah,
I think that's all I've got to say about the Tomorrow War.
Yeah, I have nothing nice to say about it, so I'm just going to say nothing at all.
At least you didn't have to pay extra for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say any more than I've said. It's just not worth it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Pop Culture. I've been Scott.
I'm still Jason.
And I'm still Monica.
The Tomorrow Bore. The Tomorrow Snore.